Hello everyone, my name is Ananya Mukherjee and I'm very delighted to welcome you back to yet another session of storytelling, Shuddh Shakahari Desi on Bkhush. All of us who watch Bollywood films are deeply saddened by the sudden demise of a very young talented actor. And much as there are discussions around us about the clinical depression that he was suffering from, and the environment that really caused or pushed him to this point where he no longer wanted to live, there is enough reason for all of us to introspect how fair are we to ourselves and how fairly are we raising the young minds around us to be able to deal with adversities no matter what. I'm going to quote an example from one of my recent conversations with a friend. He's a very educated, highly educated Asian father. And while he showed me a photograph of a painting of a little sketch that his little son had done, 9 or 10 years old son. And I said, oh wow, this was fantastic. And he said, yeah, it's great. I can see that he's got a knack for it. And I said, did you tell him that? And he said, no. I said, it was okay and he could do better. And then he said, my dad always said this to me. And I said, did it make you feel good when your dad said this to you, that, you could do better? And he said, no. I said, then you should go and tell him that he's fantastic and, that he should focus on painting as a skill because he's definitely gifted. And he said, no, but my dad always said I wasn't good and that kind of pushed me to do better. And I said, did it make you feel good as a child? And his response was, no, it didn't. And I said, did it really inspire you to do better? Did it make you feel confident that you were gifted and that you wanted to really do better? Or were you just trying to impress your dad by doing a better painting? He said, you are right. And so that was a conversation. And why am I bringing it to this storytelling session today? Is because of the way we are tuned to raising our next generation or our children, wherein sometimes, somewhere down the line, we go wrong in conveying the right message where that can really build the confidence and the esteem of a child that I am good and I can do better. And I can still do better, and no matter what the circumstances, I'm going to, win. So my story today is basically a very personal story from my own account as a child. And I'm going to share that with you. So allow me to read this story to you. No, it isn't a fairy tale, though I may begin with the most popular anchor as we as authors conventionally lean on. Once upon a time, long, long ago, there lived a little girl who wanted to grow up to be a dancer. However, her father's frequent relocation was a huge roadblock to any regular training as the family moved 8 times even before she turned 9. Of course, every move meant a new school, rehashing the old tags of being a new girl in class all over again, and not to forget the constant struggle of making new friends and losing old ones. Children at that age are known to be quite cruel and mean unless raised differently. So it wasn't easy. Those were early days in a new school in a new town. I was quite a star in my previous ones, and having to find a footing all over again wasn't all that smooth. One fine afternoon, during one of those lean periods in grade 4, a bunch of teachers walked into my classroom and randomly selected some girls for a dance show on Teachers' Day. For some reason, they called me out. In retrospect, I think I can laugh and sing that my face was my fortune, for nobody really had a clue that I could dance. From what little I remember, we were 12 or 13 of us who were called for the first rehearsal. The song was Tagore's Rim Jhim Ghano Ghano Re from Balmiki Pratibha. We were to form a semicircle and dance as partners in a group. There were few rehearsals, and the teachers who were choreographing suddenly announced one day, much to the amazement of the new girl and the chagrin of the others, that she was to perform in the center, the odd one out. The other girls in even numbers would surround her and dance. Not just that. Her role had now changed to a queen peacock with an elaborate dress of real peacock feathers and a headdress that the art teacher was stitching exclusively for her. Now that was unique and special. While this supposed limelight of being cast in the center as the lead dancer made me very happy as a child, the announcement changed the equation between the little girls I was still trying to befriend. It didn't go well with them, at least a few of them. An undercurrent was hitting my space without my knowledge. Just a few days before the show, one of the girls called in sick. It devastated the order of the choreography. I had a strong hunch that she was lying, and there was a conspiracy that I wasn't aware of because of the way in which the message came through from the leader of the pack of 9-year-olds. Now we are odd numbers. You can't be in the center anymore, she had told me with a smirk on her face. Heartbroken, but accepting of whatever that meant, I was too new to pick up a battle. Also, all I wanted to do was to simply dance. How I was positioned on the stage, of course, made me happier, but wasn't my priority at all. I shared my sadness with my parents and sister, who convinced me that I shouldn't be bothered by such pettiness and just perform. Wherever I was meant to. Focus on your role and do it well. Don't bother about positions. With that spirit, I went back to the next rehearsal. The choreographer teachers, though initially troubled by this sudden withdrawal, came back with a new plan. I can't remember what the change actually was, but I was scolded for going back in line with the rest and asked to perform where I was meant to, in the center. Nothing changed for me. We had a great show and I became the youngest little dance star in the school. The saddest part was that the little girl who was bullied to withdraw for the love of a chocolate, a 5-star chocolate as I remember it, never got a chance to get back on the stage. A few years later, when all of us had become friends, she was brave enough to confess and share the story and tell me how sorry she was. The pack leader also became my closest friend from that school. I could never tell her that I knew all this all through these years, not even now. I simply didn't want to embarrass her with something that even she may have forgotten. After all, she was barely 9 then. But what this means is, no matter what the odds are, one must continue to focus on one's role and not get distracted by the position. In the end, if you have the right talent, the stage will adjust to you and you will find the position that you're meant to be in. Most likely, the center. Trust me, in the end, it will all even out. Thank you so very much for staying with me on this storytelling session. Shuddh Shakahari Desi on Bkhush. Stay tuned for more and I look forward to hearing from you.